All right, well, look, we were talking about the pressure that the San Francisco 49ers are under this year to win the Super Bowl, starting with Kyle Shanahan. And look, John Lynch as well. And I look, you mentioned earlier that you thought they could have got rid of Shanahan a year or two ago.
Yeah, after last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
After they lost to the Chiefs?
Absolutely.
See, I think Shanahan is the coach for this team for the foreseeable future. I mean, the dude is a very good coach.
Yes.
I get, and I mentioned his shortcomings in the big moments. He hasn't been able to get them over the hump. But I would not be thinking about firing him. You know, I wouldn't be thinking about getting rid of him. I guess if it keeps going on and he can't, you know, and he's in those big moments and can't deliver. I thought last year, you know, it just didn't go their way. I mean, we know in Atlanta when he was the offensive coordinator for the Falcons that he has to bear a lot of the brunt for that loss, as he does with the loss to the Chiefs in the first Super Bowl when they met in 2020, I believe it was. Mm-hmm. But this one, I don't put it all. I don't, you know, remember any really egregious play calling mistakes and things like that.
I do.
Yeah. Okay.
In
Which ones you talking about?
Okay. If you're the offensive guy, you have to scheme, right? There are two passes that Purdy misses that weren't his fault. Now, I know Chris Jones is a certified.
Kyle Shanahan's fault or weren't Purdy's fault?
They weren't Purdy's fault because he missed the receiver 2 times, but both wide open touchdowns in the Super Bowl. And it's because Chris Jones just did what Chris Jones do. He's certified beast. But as an offensive-minded coach and coordinator, you have to scheme for that. I don't care how good that guy is. He can't go one-on-one. You cannot have it to where there's this certain play that you're going one-on-one with the game's best defensive lineman. Okay? And Aaron Donald's older now, right? Aaron Donald's retired. It's now him. It's now C. Jones. And twice in the Super Bowl, it's a schematic mistake. And I can only blame the coach, not unless it comes out that the lineman went the wrong way. Okay, fine, but I got to hear that. And when I see him one-on-one and blow the play up and causes Purdy to miss 2 wide open receivers that probably would have won that Super Bowl, I put that on Shanahan because it's your offense. And when I see the best guy going one-on-one, you cannot have that. I'm double teaming Chris Jones. Somebody else got to beat me, CB. Basically, is kind of what I'm saying. And he didn't schematically put that together. I thought those 2 plays lost the game for him, so I put that on him.
Okay. Well, let's get to Purdy.
Yes.
This is a huge year for him. We know he hasn't been paid. He's not even making $1 million this year. Okay. And he has been terrific. I think like the start of his career has been incredible. Mm-hmm. Right? His passer rating is an all-time high. Obviously hasn't played enough games to qualify for it, you know, in the record books, if you will. But so far he's at an all-time high in terms of passer rating, one of the best ever. And obviously he's gotten them to the NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl. But this year, we talked about the pressure on them to win. If he doesn't have a great year, then do they hesitate to pay him? Because right now the talk is he's going to get a deal worth basically about $60 million a year.
Yeah.
And when you pay a guy that, then he's your guy and he's expected to carry your team regardless of what talent is around him. And I am a Brock Purdy fan. I don't think you can step in and do the things he's done if you're not a very good quarterback. But I'm just saying right now, this year, he has got to get it done or that money might not be there at the end of this season for him.
Nah, the pressure to me is more on Shanahan than it is Purdy. They won't move on from Brock Purdy because of the price, right? He's making $934K is what his base salary is.
But I'm saying he ain't gonna be making that all along. Like,
right.
And now he could, I believe they don't have to pay him after this year. They're just able to pay him after this
exactly.
season. But I mean, at some point, I'm just saying he's going to cost some money.
Exactly, but I think you pay him. And I don't think he has a bad year. Last year, 42, 80, 69%, 31 and 11 as far as touchdowns and INTs go. Plays very well in the system, doesn't lose them games. And we didn't have certain people like the Cleveland game last year in the rain, in the monsoon, but once again, no Debo, right? So you're missing one of your weapons there. I think he plays well this year. I think he's still going to get paid because once again, as we spoke about yesterday, if they wait, it's going to cost them more in 2026, right? So if they don't pay him after 2024 going into 2025 and you want to wait until 2026, if he has another good year, now you're looking at 66, 67 because we know Stroud's going to get another deal. We know there's other quarterbacks coming right behind him.
But you're already sold on him because I said with Trevor Lawrence and with Tua, like we talked about Tua yesterday, I was like, look, I personally am not sold. I need to see another healthy year and another great year. And then I'll gladly pay him. And I know it would cost me a little more, but I would do that for my peace of mind. I felt the same way with Trevor Lawrence. We know he hasn't lit the league on fire.
Yeah.
He's had his moments. He was, second year was his best season, but it wasn't phenomenal.
He has an under 500 record.
Right. So I'm like, I wanted to see another year, and I would pay him more if I have to, just to make sure this is the guy. I'm surprised you're already, and I like, you've heard me on First Things First on this show. I like Purdy a lot. Yeah. But I still want to see another really big season before I'm saying he's a $60 million man.
Yeah, last year you were the first, big television personality name that called him. You said he's the real deal. You were one of the first guys that stepped out. It was like, no, Brock's the real deal. Everybody was still kind of waffling, waiting to see. You took a hard stance on that. I'm taking a hard stance on it because the tape don't lie. Like, the kid is legit. I'm off the waiting for Brock Purdy train. Now it's, okay, you're going to have to pay this guy next year. If they go 12-5, they go 13-4, you're going to have to pay this guy regardless of what happens in the playoffs. You're going to have to pay him.
Oh, yeah, because he's already proven himself.
He's already proven himself. No, I'm in on Brock Purdy.
All right, well, speaking of Brock Purdy, another guy that likes him a lot, friend of the show, Fox Sports Radio weekend superstar, former NFL offensive lineman, and had a little hoop game back in his day, or so he says. Our man, Ephraim Salaam. What's up, man?
What's happening, brothers? How y'all doing?
What's up,
We're good. We got VeeJay Huskey in.
What's good, VeeJay?
Hi, what's up, Scrapper? That's my guy. That's my guy.
So, Ephraim, we were talking about the pressure on the 49ers this year to get it done. And there are a lot of things you can look at. Kyle Shanahan's failure in Atlanta as the OC against Tom Brady. The 2 times in the Super Bowls hasn't been able to get over the hump. The fact that Purdy's going to get paid next year and, they might lose some of their big stars. But also, I was talking about, look, they've been knocking on the door for 5 years and haven't been able to push it through. I think that mentally and emotionally, if they don't get it done this year, that can also wear on a team and eventually maybe bowl you over. How much of a factor is that when you're a team that's close, but you never get over the hump? At some point, does that really take a team down?
Oh, well, yeah, and just if you guys watched that terrific doc on receivers on Netflix, you saw some of that. You saw at the beginning of that doc how they ended, didn't win, and they were hell-bent on getting back. That was the through line. Kittle was like, I'm coming back. I'm winning. Debo, I'm coming back. We're winning. And then to get back there again and not win, yeah, it weighs on you. It's like a weight on your chest because you start to think no matter how good you play this year during the regular season, it doesn't matter. And you got to remember, for the last 5 years or so, they've been one of the best teams in the league. So the regular season, they've been, kicking butt and taking names to no avail. So that begins to wear on you, right? The attention to detail in the regular season isn't always there because you know that you're going to be good in the regular season. It's just the playoffs. So it can play with your mind a lot. You're absolutely right.
Ephraim VeeJay Huskey here, man. We already said our hellos and all, man. So let's get to this Brandon Ayuk part of this team. Chris and I were just talking. I have him as their fourth option offensively. You have Christian McCaffrey, in my opinion, best all-around back in football. You have George Kittle at tight end, top 3 tight end certified. You got who wants some of Deebo Samuel. I got him as a top 6, top 7 receiver all around in football. And Ayuk kind of just feels like they almost feel like they might be able to do what they're doing if they got somebody that they could plug in. You know what I'm saying? Or this deal would have been done. And Jennings is a guy that they look at that might be able to do this. In your eyes, what's going on with this deal with Ayuk? And would you have traded him already if you felt like Jennings could step in and do his part?
Well, look, I mean, they have all the leverage. I don't know what's going on with Brandon Ayuk. I mean, they offered him some money. He didn't like it. They got some trades for him. He didn't want to go there. They said, okay, we'll pay you some more money. He didn't like that either. So at this point, if I'm the 49ers, I'm focusing on what we talked about with Chris's question is the Super Bowl and how do we get back there and how do we win. I can't continue to drag this thing out. If he goes, he goes. I know this. If he's not practicing and playing next week, it's going to cost him an awful lot of money. That $14 million he's due this year is going to get dwindled down every about $800,000 a week. And if he's that stuck on not making his mind up and not wanting to be on the team, whatever that is, then that's his fault. At a certain point, as a coach, as an organization, you just move on and you play with the guys that are out there on the field. You just block out the noise and just go play. And if he decides to join them, okay. But if not, you're not going to hold up the show. You can't, not for a receiver. That can be replaced, and you're absolutely right. He is about their fourth option offensively, and they bode well without him.
Now, Steve Young, and we talked about this earlier as well, he was on the radio recently in San Francisco, and he was saying Trent Williams and Ayuk need to realize, look, we have a chance to win the Super Bowl and put that in front of the money. And I get that. I'm not mad at Steve Young, Ephraim, but you were an offensive lineman, and I said this, as much as they want to win a Super Bowl, and I'm not questioning their desire to win a Super Bowl at all, winning a Super Bowl, though, it doesn't change the legacy of a left tackle or a receiver the way it does for a quarterback. So I understand these guys saying, and Trent Williams, like, maybe this is my last chance to really get that big money. I know his last contract was big too, but I understand where they're coming from. I understood Tyreek Hill, even though he was won a Super Bowl with Kansas City, could have won more. Obviously, they did even without him. But I understand him going to get paid because nobody's going to say, oh, he's got 3 Super Bowls. He's already a Hall of Famer. He's already going to be one of the greatest receivers ever. So I think the key for him is getting money. Where are you at on that type of philosophy when you're not a quarterback?
Well, yeah. I mean, look, this is his last big money grab, and he deserves it. He's about the 7th, 8th highest paid left tackle, and he's the best left tackle in the game. I get it. Although he had 3 years on his contract, none of the money is guaranteed. So he wants some assurances, right? The last thing you want to do is, God forbid, he go out there and tear his pec, and then that'll be the end of that, right? So I understand from an age and a longevity in terms of monetary standpoint from him. Look, the Brandon Ayuk thing, he's young, right? He's got plenty of time to worry about wherever team he does end up, if they're going to win the Super Bowl or not. Trent Williams, I'm sure he wants to win the Super Bowl. He's done enough. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Right. But it's all about the security for him. Playing left tackle in the league is tough, man. A lot of people don't really understand how tough that is and what you have to endure night in and night out. You're going against the best defensive player in most cases every single week, no weeks off. And to do it in such a dominant fashion, you should be compensated and guaranteed some assurances that, God forbid, something happened, you'll be taken care of. I understand that one, but I'm more concerned about him not being there than Brandon Ayuk.
Right.
They're not going to make it back without Trent Williams. They can definitely make it back to the Super Bowl without Brandon Ayuk.
Right.
I agree. All right, that's our man Ephraim Salaam. Great stuff as always, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all, man.
Appreciate you, Ethan.
Yep.
God bless, brother.